For my DSARI project, I decided to focus on the fuel economy of my 2011 Nissan Versa. As seen in the owner's manual, I'm expected to get about 28 miles per gallon in the city and about 34 on the highway, filling about a 13.2 gallon tank. I found this table online listing the average miles per gallon of each type of vehicle that came out in the year 2011. My Nissan Versa is considered a compact car, which can be seen the fourth row down from the top. It falls right in the middle as of average MPG. It's about 31 between highway and city. So I decided to test my fuel efficiency on my spring break trip, and my spring break destination was South Padre Island in Texas. After looking up the distance we would need to travel, I saw that the drive would be about 1,500 miles each way, which came to just over 3,000 miles total. But this estimation didn't necessarily include stopping for gas, food, or any other necessities. So after returning home and kind of evaluating the data again, we realized that our trip was over 100 miles what we had initially planned driving. It was actually 1,580 miles there and 1,609 back since we stopped to stay at a hotel. Since our trip to Dallas threw us off a little bit, that made the total round trip 3,189 miles. We covered a lot of different area on our trip. It was really cool to see the small gas stations, which would be about 4 pumps, and then we did see one gas station that was actually 112 pumps, and the prices ranged from anywhere. 172 was the cheapest we saw. That was a small town in Missouri, and then actually our highest gas price was just over $2 in the city of Minneapolis right when we fell out to leave. Before I left for my trip, I decided to pick out a few different variables that I thought would affect the miles per gallon. The three variables I decided to focus on are weather, landscape, and then the person driving, since my car does not have cruise control. Every time we stopped, whether we decided to refill our tank or we didn't, I would record how many miles we had traveled and then how much of the tank was left. After averaging both the drive there and then the drive home, I decided to figure out what the average mile per gallon was per person. There were 3 different drivers, but we were all pretty close in proximity. I was averaging about 30.23 miles per gallon, Kevin was averaging about 29, and Ethan was exactly at 31 miles per gallon. The most drastic differences I saw in all three of the topics that I chose was definitely weather. With little weather problems, we tended to have a higher miles per gallon, and with any extreme weather, whether it be snow, rain, anything like that, our fuel efficiency dropped significantly. Focusing in on landscape, I noticed a significant drop in fuel efficiency anytime we were in a city or any significant traffic. Small hilly landscapes did not really differ much from the flat land. After looking at all of my data, I saw that the average miles per gallon for the trip was 30.37 miles per gallon. The equation I used to find the miles per gallon of each leg of the trip is simple. I began with a full tank, which in my case was 13.2 gallons, or whatever the amount of fuel in the tank had in it at the time, and subtracted the gallons left over when we stopped. I then divided that number by the amount of miles traveled. As an example, I'll use figure 1 and driver 1. So I did 13.2 minus 5.74, divided that by 218, which is the miles we had traveled, and got 29.22 miles per gallon for that part of the trip specifically. Although satisfied with my fuel efficiency, I knew that it wasn't up to par with other 2011 Versas, so I stopped in to an automotive repair shop to figure out why. I decided to meet with Nia, the owner of Inline X Automotive in Hopkins, Minnesota, who advised I get an oil change right away. I was 2,000 miles overdue, and he told me that that was undoubtedly the reason that I had such low fuel efficiency on my trip. If I would have gotten an oil change before the trip, my car would have gotten 2 to 3 miles more per gallon, saving a substantial amount of money. With this issue, along with my car lacking cruise control, my car is truly not living up to its full potential. I really enjoyed researching something applicable to my everyday life, and hopefully can change my driving habits to obtain a more fuel-efficient car.